England come into this on the back of that great win against Ireland. They're looking for revenge for that record defeat last year, and they've still got a chance to win the championship. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. Both of these teams are obviously going to know whether they actually do have a chance to win the tournament or not before kick-off in this one. So that's going to have a big impact on how the game is played and at the intensity as well. I think if they do, we should really expect fireworks. But when these two come together, it's very rarely a dull game anyway, so it should be fun. This is the last of 3 that I'm recording in a row and trying to rush through them all. So let's crack on and get this one done. So this one is France versus England, and it's on Saturday, 16th of March 2024. Kickoff is 8 p.m. GMT. It's at the Groupama Stadium in Lyon. Last year it was England 10, France 53. France just absolutely destroying England last year, and that then gave England that kind of kick up the ass to then, act as spoilers against Ireland the week after, and they really made Ireland work for that Grand Slam. And this time they're coming in on the back of actually beating Ireland, and that in itself, then you're wondering, can they sustain that? But let's have a look at the two teams. So we're going to start with the French team, the home team. So hang on, let me pull it up here. Okay, so front row is Cyril Bay, Julian Marchand, and Unia Tonio. So pretty much what we expect from the front row now that Marchand is back and available again. Really good carriers, threat close to the line, decent descent piece, especially in the scrum, very abrasive in the scrum. And England are going. Their front row are going to have to step up against these guys. Second row then, Thibaut Flamand back in for the second row again. Emmanuel Mayfu there beside him as well. They went okay last week against Wales. Let's see how they do now against this England second row, who've looked pretty good too. Back row then, Francois Crowe, Charles Olivon, and Gregory Aldrit. So good to see them back with the more experienced players in there. And again, it's going to be a good battle, I think, of the back rows as well. The halfbacks then, Nolan Nagara continues at 9. I thought he did well with his first start in the tournament last week. Tomo Ramos continues at 10 as well. He again did well. Like what are France on now? Number 3, 4, 5, 10 or wherever it is at the moment, but it just shows how much quality they have in their squad to be able to do that. Then left wing Louis Bielbiari threatened to show the kind of amazing skills that he has. Not quite setting the tournament light, but a lot of that's to do with the way his team have been playing as well. So I'm actually expecting a big game from him in this one. The centres then, you got Nicolas Deporte there, who was there last week as well in the absence of Dante, and he had a decent game. Gael Ficou, class, always, you get really good stuff from him. Damien Penaud, so dangerous. Hasn't scored that many tries, but he still looked dangerous, and teams have just about held him out from scoring a half full of tries. And then Leo Barre, their fullback, looked really good as well last week. Onto the bench then, you got Pito Mauvaka, Sebastian Taufi-Fanua, and Georges Henry Colombe. So those three, I think they were all there last week, right? And they did fairly well coming on too. Again, it's one of these ones where when they come on, the fact that they can lift, and have an extra threat to that English front row as well, it means that England, they've got to be on it for the whole game. I think they don't want to start getting smashed in the scrum, but you see it with these two that they both have the type of front rows that it's very confidence based, that if they do get on top of the other team, they don't back off, they just keep on pressing. So it's going to be early on in the game, how they go against each other, and then when the subs come on as well, how those first couple of scrums go. Romain Taufifenua, who got that great try last week, I thought. Really good to charge down Davis and then get to the ball before him as well. So he'd be delighted with that. Then Alexander Roma, Paul Baudin, who's been involved the whole tournament. He hasn't had that many starts, but still has done decent work off the bench. Maxime Luku, lost his place in the starting team, but still can offer something decent off the bench, and we saw that last week as well. And then Yoram Mofana, just so versatile, can cover so many positions. It makes sense, I think, for him to have 23 on his back. Okay, so let's have a look now at the England team. So England, this team is going from the from fullback, so we're going to start with George Furbank back there. I would not have expected to be wondering if Freddie Stewart's England's career might be over at this stage of the tournament, but it feels like if Furbank stays fit, that he's going to be preferred there to Stewart, and that's crazy when you think that the one player in England's backline that looked like he was assured of his position coming into this tournament was Stewart at full back. So we'll see. Watch the space for the summer tour and also the autumn internationals, I think. Tommy Freeman has done pretty well on the right wing. Centres pairing is Henry Slade and Ollie Lawrence again. They did well against Ireland, and the fact that now I think it's a third game in a row that's starting together. Finally, we have like a settled centre pairing. So hopefully, if England lose this game, they still continue there, because you need that some kind of settled partnership somewhere in your team. Elliot Daly then on the left wing there. You got George Ford continue with 10. I'm sure there would have been lots of calls for Marcus Smith to start ahead of him, but I think he's the man to start. Alec Mitchell there has returned to the team as well, so they're looking like a settled a settled pairing there. Okay, finally got the front row then. Ellis Gaines, Jamie George, who I think has done pretty well as captain, and then Dan Cole. It's going to be a big task for them against French front row, but these guys on their day can certainly push them. The second row then, Maro Itoje and George Martin, who did so well against Ireland, really was a good decision to bring him into that second row, I think, even though it broke up the Itoje-Chesham partnership a little bit, but still he had huge impact on that game. Ollie Chesham did well at 6 last week as well. Sam Underhill has had a decent tournament. Ben Earl probably England's best forward in the tournament so far. Great meters after contact, etc., and an eye for a try as well. Onto the bench then, we've got Teodan, Joe Marler and Will Stewart. They're going to have to really elevate themselves, I think, when they come on in this one. Ethan Roots, he was a starter early on in the tournament. He now finds himself on the bench, so he's got to navigate that and be able to deliver from the bench. Alex Donbrand, who looked like he was one of these players who was out in the wilderness, now back in with a chance as well. Second game in a row where he has a chance to stake a claim from the bench. Danny Kerr, evergreen player. Probably a lot of people would have thought that he would have retired after the World Cup, but he's still there and he can still offer something. Marcus Smith got that scrappy drop goal that won the game last week, and delighted for him, because he's one of those players where he's built up to be like amazing, and then you just know they want to knock him down as soon as they can. So nice to see that. Manu Tulagi at 23. For me, it's kind of a weird one, because he's one of those players, again, if he's available, you start him, and if not, I don't see how much utility he gives you off the bench. If you're bringing him on, you're bringing him on in the centres. If you have to bring him on anywhere else, I think he's going to get found out. So we'll see how he does from there. But I do agree with the fact that he didn't just stick him in the team, because again, I want to see Slade and Lawrence going well together. And but it could be one of these where they're under pressure early on, they bring Tulagi on, he gets them a bit to go forward, and then the whole debate again about the centres opens up again, and then England kind of go back to almost step one with that as well. So those are your teams. We're now going to look at the stats from the two teams. So tries scored, 10 for France, 9 for England. So neither scoring a huge amount of tries. And in terms of try scorers, Gaël Foucault top for France with 2, Ben Earl and George Furbank with 2 each as well. So no major try scorers from either team at the moment, but that can change. This game could end up 50 points to 49 or something, or some kind of crazy score, because both of them are potentially chasing down a big score, and then somebody could get 3 or 4 tries in the game or something. Lineout takes 42 to 49. Charles Olivon, interesting enough, top lineout taker for France, and it kind of makes sense given how much disruption they've had in their second row and how many changes they made there, that it would be a back row who's been in most of the games that would be their top taker. Ollie Chesham with 13 for England is their top guy. Lineout steals then just 2 for France and 4 for England. Charles Olivon with 1 steal for France. Ollie Chesham with 3 is joint first with Tyg Byrne across the entire tournament. Kicks and play then 104 for France, which is a lot, very much down on last year. Last year they kicked a lot more. England with more kicks with 117. Tomo Ramos with 27 is France's main kicker, which makes sense given that the changes they've had at 10 and the fact that he's been in the team for the entire tournament. Alex Mitchell with 31 is England's top kicker, but George Ford has 30, so you can see pretty much balance between kicking off 9 and 10. Line breaks then 20 for France, 21 for England, so not I think they're second and third in the tournament, or they're somewhere around there, but Ireland at 32 have a lot more. Damien Penaud, though, in terms of individuals, with 8 is the most in the tournament with 8, as I said. Biel Berry with 6 is number 3, and then England's top line breakers are Daly and Freeman with 4 each. Meters gained then 1,615 for France, England with 1,526. So France haven't been great, but still having impact in terms of making those meters. Penaud having huge impact with 248. He's number 4 in the tournament. And then for England, Ben Earl, who's been superb with 223, is in 6th overall. Total passes then 592 for France and 560 for England. Nolan Le Garrec with 146 is 5th overall, which is pretty good given the fact that he started the tournament as a replacement number 9, and it's only the last last game really he got a start, so he's done really well. Alex Mitchell with 153 is 3rd overall. Then offloads, huge disparity between the teams here, 36 for France and just 16 for England. Damien Penaud with 8, again number 1 in the entire tournament, and for England, Mitchell and Freeman with 3 each are their top offloaders. Scrum percentage then, France best in the tournament with 86, England decidedly mid table with 71%. So you would expect France's scrum to put England under pressure in this game, but we've seen before that England front row, if to get out of the right side of the bed or whatever happens, they eat their Weetabix, whoever it is, they can really put it up to front rows that on paper are better than them, and they've done it a lot in the past as well, and I wouldn't be surprised to do it again here. So in terms of where do I think how this game is going to go, it's weird, because if you had asked me before last week, I would have said that England are in with a decent chance to win, because they look like they're building towards a good performance in the tournament. But now they've had that good performance against Ireland, I'm worried that they're going to be on a little bit of a dip this week, and they're not going to be able to reach those same heights again. Whereas France, have been poor. They produced a decent performance against Wales, but they didn't. It didn't feel like a monumental performance, and they haven't put what you would say was a really good performance in so far in the tournament. I think they're due one. They seem to be coming back to a little bit of form, and because of that, then I think that France are actually going to take this one. It's not going to be a mauling the way it was last year. England are going to be very competitive, I think, in the game, but France, just because of the fact that England, I think, are going to be on a dip from last week, and France are on the way up, that's going to be enough for them to come out with the win.